Hey there, it's Matt, and this time we're gonna talk about N8N basics. If you've watched the Make.com basics video, you're gonna see a lot of similarities and a lot of differences as well, and you're gonna see which platform do I prefer. All right. So if you were able to set everything up with Railway properly, you should be able to go to this type of dashboard. And if I've invited you, you should also see this dashboard. Now, this is the list of automations, and compared to make.com, we call them workflows. And then instead of connections, we call them credentials, right? And, I have a couple of them running, and I have a lot of them active. And that's already the main difference. Like with make.com, we were only limited to two. With N8N self-hosted, you can have as much active workflows as you have. And then you also can see these templates. If you click on that, it should bring you to the templates page. So they've got a lot of workflow automation templates here, and you're gonna notice that a lot of them are a lot more sophisticated, uh, complex. So for example, this one auto publish social videos to 9 platforms via Google Sheets and Blotato. So I don't know what Blotato is, but as you can see, it's already a lot more nodes. Actually, we call it nodes here in N8N compared to make.com, which is where modules. So you can click on it and be able to see data, right? I mean, the interface is just a lot more beautiful, just on my perspective. But that doesn't matter. What matters is you can use this if you click on this, right? But let's go back to the main dashboard. So in order to create a workflow, you can click on this or this one, create workflow. And the canvas should appear. This is your main painting area. So let's try to rename this first. Google Sheets ChatGPT. So we're gonna try and recreate a bit, or maybe just test this out. The project that we created on Make. So when we click enter, that should save it. But always in any platform, don't forget to save, or else you risk on losing the automation that you just created. Then if right now we're in the editor, and I'll show you executions later. But the first thing that you need to add is again the trigger. All right. Then they have a couple of triggers. You can either trigger manually, right? And then you can already test this out by clicking on this test workflow. So it ran, but it didn't do anything. And then we click on executions, and we can immediately check for each execution. So remember, we just had this node added, and it's the only node that ran. So for this test workflow, you can actually view it. Let's go back to it later. Let's also try and add more triggers, right? So that's also one of the beauties of N8N. You can have multiple triggers. And you can have an on-app event. For example, when something happens in an app like Telegram, right? So they have a couple of options here. Not too much, right? So make.com still has a lot of more triggers. Then you can also have a trigger for a specific schedule, right? You can do days, so on, right? So you can have this. Then you can also have on a form submission. So this one is actually you can create your own form using N8N, which is totally cool. You don't need to have or create a Google form or another form. You can already create a form through this one. So what I mean by this is, let's just say, let's do contact us. And then what's your first name? right? Okay. Now, you can do either a test URL or a production URL. A test URL, you should just use this again for testing. So if you click on test step, right, it's going to like give us this form just for testing purposes. So if we try and type in our name, submit, this is test version of your form, and we go back to this one, we got the first name, right? Totally cool. Now, if we want the production URL, this means that it's going to be accessible anytime, right? But that's not going to work yet. So if we try and go to that link, it's going to be having an error, or it's not going to let us go to the form. Why? Because we haven't saved this yet, and we haven't turned it to active. Right, just got it. Now, let's try to go to that link, and that's it. So this is the production version, right? So let's go back here. Let's try and add a couple more triggers. So when executed by another workflow, oh sorry, yeah, since I already mentioned that, the cool thing about N8N is you can call other workflows from this workflow, and you can like have this inception type of workflows wherein this workflow calls another workflow that calls another workflow that calls another workflow, and you can get super duper complex. But again, we have a principle of making everything as simple as they can be. So you can also add that as a trigger, right? Well, I'm gonna delete that for now. And then on chat message. So this is also one of the coolest things about N8N, because you can create a chat directly from here. So if you click on make chat publicly available, you can also do the same thing as with the form, right? Click on save. Then if we try and go to that link, oh, it's not yet active, right? Test chat. Okay. Oh, actually, this is the test chat directly through N8N, right? But you can also like again have a public chat URL, right? So let's try and save this. If this doesn't work, let's try it again later. Oh, there we go. So here's the chat, and as we can see, that's totally cool. You can like already create chat bots with it. All right, so that's it. Let's go back here. We now have the, a form submission or a chat message. If we try and test it out, right? Let's A. Oh, by the way, it's asking us to add AI nodes. So let's do that later. Let's just finish this off. The last thing that I want you to understand, and you'll be encountering a lot, is webhooks. So I use this a lot, actually. So webhooks are like, what do you call that? Gateways for your workflow. So this one, let me just close this. So while these are all pretty cool, the webhooks are often used by other applications. If you see on the settings page of, for example, Stripe or Airtable or whatever, they have options to add webhooks. Let me just pause and show you an example. All right, so this is like a visual representation of what a webhook is. It allows other servers, other applications to send data to our workflow, right? So it's different from APIs. I'm not gonna like be technical about it, but just know if you want to send data from another application, you're gonna need webhooks, right? And in order to create that, we just need the link. And this one is gonna give us the link, right? Again, test URL and production URL. And you can also configure get. Well, most of the time you're just gonna need get and post, right? Again, I'm not gonna like give you the full detailed explanation of this. But get just means you're getting data from this webhook. Post is when you're giving it data. So it's get and give. Now, these are the triggers. And again, as I've mentioned, you can use multiple triggers for this certain workflow. Now, let's just stick with an easier example just to get you excited. So when a chat message is received, let's try to add a new node. And this is where like the difference between make.com and N8N is. N8N is more AI focused. All right. Yeah, even the list of nodes, advanced AI is on the top of the list. So as you can see, like you can create AI agents, you can connect an OpenAI, basic LLM chain, information extractor, and you can experiment with this. But let's just go with AI agent for now. All right. And it's red because you need to like connect a chat model, right? So a chat model is basically ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, Grok, Google Gemini. So you're going to like select which model you want to use. But most of the time, even especially if you're a beginner, you're just going to use ChatGPT. So for that one, we're gonna select OpenAI chat model. Then I've got a video in order to get the OpenAI API key. Make sure to watch that. All right. So once you have been able to like put your API key here, you're going to select a model. And basically the model is like the brain or the capacity of the brain. Imagine a brain being able to like take in a bunch of data and being able to think, right? And be able to like give out answers. So uh, you can there's a lot of models here you're gonna notice, and each model has a different use case. But generally, the higher the model, the more expensive it is. That's just how OpenAI works. Some uh, some chat models get cheaper as they grow, but it's a general rule of thumb that the higher the model, the more expensive it is. So just to give you a baseline, I would always just try 4.0 mini as a starting place. It's cheaper. It's actually one of the cheapest and it produces almost the same result. So just use GPT 4.0 mini, right? And actually that's good to go. We can already test this out. For example, chat. Let's try and oh wait. Hey there again. All right. So we already got something working. You don't even need like chat GPT. As long as you're able to like create this AI agent, you can already chat with it like you were to chat with chat GPT. So hello, how can I assist you today? Why is the sky blue? See, you can also see what happens when a workflow runs or executes. So the sky appears blue primarily due to a phenomenon, blah, 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 blah. Because you can see it's super cool. You were already able to do something with this very simple workflow. And you can add more to this. For example, memory. Right now, if we try and ask what was my previous question, it won't know, right? So you see, I'm sorry, but I don't have access to previous interactions or questions. So I mentioned that the chat model is like the capacity, but you need a memory in order to like have a brain, have a storage. So you have a couple of options, but most of the time you're gonna just use window buffer memory. So this one, but you can go to a more advanced one like Postgres. And if you have set up uh, using Railway, you will have your own Postgres uh, instance. So remember, we like deployed your N8N through Railway. you can connect your Postgres to your N8N. So I'm not gonna get into the details, but this is more on an advanced programming thing. Basically, you can connect your Postgres through N8N, right? Postgres chat memory, you're gonna add credentials, and boom. So you're gonna put all the details here. But just for demonstration purposes, let's use window buffer memory. And what you need to know is the context window length just means how many chats before this chat should we go back to. If you want your model to reference like a chat that you made months ago, of course, you're gonna need to increase this. If you're gonna uh, but that would like cost you more tokens for your model. And I don't wanna make it too technical for beginners. Just know that the more you increase this context window length, the farther it will go back in your chat history. All right, so we set it to 5. Now, if we try and say, hey there, I'm Matt. All right, nice to meet you, Matt. How can I help you today? What's my name? That should remember it. Your name is Matt. All right, so we were able to connect our brain, and this is like the capacity of the brain. And you also have tools, and this is where agents shine. This is where like a lot of businesses would like to use AI for. For example, you can create a Google Calendar AI agent. So this Google Calendar AI agent can view your schedules, modify, add, and so on. So you can create a Google Calendar. So I'm not gonna like do it right now, but you can have a very complex AI agent that can do a lot of stuff. Get, as we can see, like you can have something like this, and remember, we can chat with it. So you can basically have AI do a lot of things that were not possible with make.com. So I'm gonna let you explore with this, but just this alone is already so super cool, right? Now, we've been running this a lot. Now, if we go to executions, we can see a lot of test events. And this is one of the things that I want to highlight with N8N, because this is like one of the advantages with this. For every time that it executes, it stores these logs. So, for example, this one, we can view this, and it will load the different times that we ran test. Right? So, as you can see, uh, it every time we ran a test, it like stored what the structure of the workflow was. And let's just go back here. Right? And then, as you can see, it was successful. Right? And you would know it because it's green. But sometimes it would be red. That means there's an error. And if there is an error, let me just try and produce an error. So let's say uh, view my calendar. So it's oh instead of producing an error, it just said it seems there was an error while trying to access your calendar. So actually, let's try and do this. That should produce an error, right? Because we disconnect the chat model. Now, as you can see, it's now red. If we look at why it went red, so you can see, we can view this, and it says that a chat model subnode must be connected and enabled. So like this already in itself is like super powerful compared to make. You can go back to different times that it executed, and you can see the errors for each node, right? right? And then let's say you want to test this out, or you wanna like know or go back to a certain point. For example, this one. Like you can click copy to editor, and it will pin the data, meaning it's going to like put the data from that specific point of time. For example, this one, and you can like go back to it, go back to certain parts. So actually, let's discuss that. So by the way, I have a lot of things to say, but you can actually drag. When you click on the plus button, you can drag over different items. So remember when I told you that we can add another trigger? Let's say webhook. We can drag this over here and it basically will work, right? So this is like the beauty of N8N. Now, let's now discuss what happens or what you can expect to see when you click on something like this. So, when you click on a specific node, like AI agent, it's gonna have the input again and the output. Similar to how make.com shows it, but it's a lot more intuitive. So as we can see, we got like data from the when chat message received trigger, but no data from webhook. So you can still have multiple triggers, but only one trigger will run. And it's almost the same. You can just drag it over here. And then make sure that this is connected chat trigger node, or you can define it below, right? But let's just stick with this. Now, here, you can either click on create a test step to run this again. No, error in subnode window buffer memory. I don't really know why, but let's try this. Right, it worked. So here, the beauty of the output and the input is you can like modify how you can see it. You've got the schema. You can also look at it in table format, also in JSON, right? And do the same thing. And then for the output, it will either show you the output, the exact output, or you can view the logs. Like this is one of the best things about this one. You can see how it processed the data. So first, the AI agent went back to the window buffer memory or its past chats. So it first got this, right? And then this is what the window buffer memory gave as an output. Then it passed that over to ChatGPT. And then it tried to call Google Calendar. And then it passed it over back to ChatGPT. And then it tried to add it back to memory. So you don't really need to like memorize what each part does. Just know that logs will help you in the future, especially if there are errors. You will be able to like go back, see the logs, where it possibly went wrong, and that's it. That's basically how you are able to like use N8N. And if you want, you can even download it as a template, share it, just like what I did. And then you can also duplicate this. And then going back here, there are a lot more nodes that we can discuss. But I'm not going to go and discuss everything. Just know that you can do a lot of actions here. So as you can see, there are integrations, but not that much, right? I can like scroll easily compared to Make. I was scrolling endlessly. So in other words, there's a lot more integrations with Make than there is with N8N. But the good thing about N8N is you can use APIs. So this is like more for advanced users. You don't really need the integration as long as you're able to get the API. You can use something like HTTP request or webhook. Then you can call the API here, right? How cool is that? Actually, most of the time you're going to be using this because, like compared to Make, there are really fewer integrations here. All right. Wait. And then in order to like navigate here, I actually have this like scroll wheel on my mouse. But in case that you can't, like you can drag here or just click zoom to fit. And then you can also zoom in, right? And then in the spirit of what I've said in the make.com basics, you can add notes, right? Don't forget to add notes because it will help you tremendously moving forward. So I'm a note. This is a note. And then this is in markdown format. So I'm not gonna like discuss what a markdown format is, but it's a styling. Here we go. Double click to edit me. Right. That's it. Like I was basically able to like give you the basics of N8N. What you can do right now is like for example, let's try and select one of the templates. This one. Let's try and copy paste this again. Here we go. So remember what we discussed with triggers. So this one is a form submission. Then it's going to pass it to OpenAI. And you can modify the prompting here, add a message. And then you need to like connect your Google Drive credential. And so you can see it even used this HTTP request to an API. And that's basically how you use N8N. Oh wait, I think I was able to like find one important thing. So for example, this AI agent, you want to like change it, right? System message. Because right now it's a helpful assistant. But what if you like to change? Yeah, what if you'd like to change it? For example, is an SEO expert, um, course expert, professional, right? So if you want to be more specific, like you are a marketing genius that has 10 plus years experience. So what you're doing here is like creating your own GPT, right? And for example, this one, you've got like fixed and expression. The main difference is that with fixed, this is not going to change anytime. This will be the same every time. But if it's expression, you can add variables to it. For example, this won't make sense, but let's say action is, if you try and drag action here, so it's going to show you like the output. You are a marketing genius that has 10 plus years experience. Action is send message, right? So that's mainly the difference between fixed and expression. It will allow you to insert data in the input fields, similar to what we did with make. And since it's getting a bit smaller, you can click on this and it will allow us to have a bigger space, right? So imagine if you're like prompting, right? You'll be able to see the result here based on the data that you added. And in order to add more data, just type in 2 curly braces and you should see like a couple of uh, things that you can put there. And the good, like anything is just super cool. You can add this from AI. So this AI agent, for example, let me give you a scenario. You're trying to like collect information, but sometimes users could put like their first name and their last name together without any spaces. If you type in from AI name, first name, and then let's add the description. So this is like how you're gonna like use the function from AI. It's asking for the key, then now the description, and you can add more type, but it's not required. If there's a question mark, it's not required. Again, not gonna like dig too deep here, but let's say first name. Make sure that the first name is separated from second name. Right. I- Imagine if the name was like this, Matt Robles, and they submitted the form without spaces. If you use from AI, the AI agent is smart enough to like accept this as an input and be able to output Matt here, right? It says that between 1 and 64, yeah, it's just a matter of formatting. But like I think you can see my point. There's a lot more features that you can use with N8N, and I would highly suggest you explore it. So actually, let's try and use this. Like let's use one of those templates. Right? Let's save it. Again, remember to save. Click on templates. Right, let's try and right, this one is super cool. Transcribe audio files, summarize with GPT-4, and store in Notion. Use for free. You can either copy or import. All right. And it even helped with the setup. So we're gonna like connect our Google Drive, select our OpenAI. Then we need to connect our new Notion credential, but let's say continue. And it even has like descriptions. So every time we're going to like upload an audio file on our Google Drive, right? It's going to download the file, transcribe it, meaning it's going to like convert it into text, and then it's going to give it to ChatGPT to like get the summary, and then it's going to add it to Notion. Like super duper cool. And yeah, I mean that's basically N8N. Actually, it's a lot more simpler than Make if you really think about it. But the workflows can be a lot complex, right? How to use it, super easy, but it's really dependent on how you how your creativity, right? So that's basically N8N. If you've got any questions, there's a lot more that we can cover here. Let me know if you need more clarification or you need more help. Put them in the comment section below. Thanks.